Oh. 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 Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. In a typical text, there is a person who's communicating to a demographic. The Ramayana is a atypical text. In this, the gods, the guides, the animals, and the author with himself are all speaking about, communicating about, feeling Rama. The word Rama has the base of Ram, which means to revel, to enjoy. As I was analyzing the Ramayana, I felt that we should be part of the Ramayana too. To add that humans communicating with humans about Rama, about reveling. And this morning we complete doing this for 80 weeks. Chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita is significant philosophically. There are references to avatara, to varna. Chapter 4 is significant practically. There's reference to yajna and shraddha. If we review our complete exploration of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, the theme is fear. What does Prince Arjuna engage in? He freezes. What do? We get bored. Chapter 2, fearlessness. Chapter 2 is a table of contents. And I hope you picked up on how I use the word content. Content also sounds like content. The one who's content is fearless. The one who is fearless is content. So much of that is shared in chapter 2. Chapter 3, the theme is dedication. And a lot of focus is on kartavya karma. The right attitude, the right actions. You will know that you're living the Gita if you raise your focus. If you're becoming a more focused person, then you are living chapter 3. And chapter 4, the theme is deservershiplessness. Deservershiplessness. With a lot of emphasis on yajna. You will know that you're living chapter 4 if you reduce dislikes and likes. If you are less pushed around by this, then you know you are living chapter 4. In verse 39, which was the last teaching, we're in the last teaching of this chapter, Shri Krishna is sharing with Prince Arjuna how critical faith is. A disciple can grow their faith through the right attitude and right actions. I describe this as rightness. Through that, they will deserve a guide. And the guide's responsibility will be to raise the faith or grow the faith in a disciple by helping them or guiding them to the right Atma and naturally the right Ananda. In verse 40, Sri Krishna shares, one who doesn't engage in rightness and has a guide, what do? They ignore, they float, they doubt. That's how they live today. That's how they live tomorrow. That's how they live forever. Verse 41, if one follows faith, this is how they'll be. In verse 42, it's not a if follows. Verse 42 is then follow. And our very pointed word, tasmat, comes up in this verse. And we haven't seen this word since verse 15, where Sri Krishna says, tasmat mumukshubhihi. Those who want freedom, they follow. Tasma jnana sambhutam hritstam jnanasinatmanaha chitvainam samshayam yogam atishtottishta bharata. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam, born from ignorance. Shri Krishna is sharing with Prince Arjuna all of the negativity, all of the vices. The source of all of this is ignorance. Ignoring how to be happy, ignoring who you are. There's a very powerful teaching in the Mahabharata where a rishi is speaking to Dhritarashtra, that is Duryodhana's father. And he says, Pramadam ve mrityum. Pramadam ve mrityum, which means inadvertence, carelessness is death. Conversely, sada apramadam amritatvam. Sada apramadam amritatvam. The one who is ever, sada means unconditionally, apramadam, they're vigilant, they're careful, then they experience not death, but they experience life. I share this with you because, again, all of the negativity, all of the vices in our lives comes from this lack of vigilance, this lack of care. All of us are busy doing, but how are you doing? Why are you doing? Hritstam jnana asina atmanaha. This ignorance resides in one's heart. And what should one do? Jnana asina. They should use the sword of knowledge to cut this ajnana so that one feels the atma. If you're interpreting this literally, why is a sword being used? Because Prince Arjuna can relate to being a soldier. This is a battle. So naturally, a master teacher will use language that the student can understand. Right now, if I asked you, who do you feel like you are? You will technically say, I feel like I'm the body, or I feel like I'm the mind, or I feel like I'm the ego. But jnana, and another word for this is Vedanta, knowing thyself, is different. Who you feel like you are right now is quite different than who you actually, factually are. You are not Agnya or ignorant, you are Atma. You are infinite. At the end of the Ramayana, Sri Rama tells all of the people, I stay in every being's heart. However, I only rest in the hearts of devotees. All of us are infinite, but those who are devoted to this infinity, then they know this, so their feeling is quite different. Chitvainam samshayam yogam, with this sword of knowledge, cut. Cut what? Samshayam. Samshayam was already referred to in verse 40. The one who doubts, which means they're floating, which means they're ignoring. In the fuller context of Bhagavad Gita, this doubt is equivalent to moha or confusion. If there's no moha or confusion, then there's not going to be bhaya or fear. And if there's no bhaya or fear, there's not going to be shoka or sadness. Our whole lives can change forever by knowing who we are. No more sadness, fear, confusion. And all of this is facilitated by yoga. Yoga makes our karma unconditional. Our karma is highly conditional. You punch into work, you punch out of work. You go to school, you leave the teachers. What we do with rituals, there's a time, there's a bell, there's a flower. But yoga is this vision of perpetual betterment. I'm so clear about the why, so it doesn't matter what I do. All of this becomes a form of purity for me. And purity leads to peace. If I live unconditionally every day, I will become unconditionally happy. Atishta, uttishta, bharata. Atishta means to take refuge or immerse yourself in this. And then what? Uttishta. Wake up. Stand up. Live up to your potential. Bharata. Rata means the one who revels. I've already referenced that. Bha means in the presence. Bharata, the one who's reveling in their own presence of the nature of joy. And as is our tradition, we read the Sankalpa Vakya. This is an affirmation of what we've experienced and that we're going to live this. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturto Dhyayaha. The fourth chapter has the theme of infusing jnana into our karma, so there is sannyasa. To have the vision while I'm doing that my nature is being. So what do I renounce? Deservership. That I deserve through creating happiness. And if you let go of this deservership that you're going to create happiness, you know what that feels like? You stop being unhappy. That expectation is impossible. But if you don't have that expectation, what will you feel? There will be more calmness, more quietness, more stillness. From inspiration to application, your recent application was to answer Sri Lakshmana's questions. And I was reading your responses on our Chinmay Mission Niagara website, and I'm expressing my appreciation to Jignya and Janani. They both came up with frameworks where it is very easy to remember these answers, which means they've reflected on this a lot, which means they're nurturing their faith. Your recent application was to identify 4 clear changes in who you are over our immersion in Bhagavad Gita. And I did read all of your responses. I'm expressing my appreciation to Brinda, who shared before Bhagavad Gita, she was God-fearing. Now through Bhagavad Gita, she's becoming God-loving. What a transition from fear to love. Forget about transition, that's evolution. And your ongoing application was for us to celebrate our birthday. Whenever we go to a birthday party of a family member, of a friend, of a typical person, what is everyone doing? They're doing. Move this, eat this, buy this, cook this, clean this, fight with that person, forgive that person. But whenever we celebrate the birthday of our guide, map, divinity, it's less about doing. It's not about doing at all. It is about reflecting. For Bhagavad Gita's birthday, like I mentioned, are you going to buy her a cake? Who's going to eat that cake? It's about you reflecting on you. That is what she wants. My reflection takes me to what Gandhari shared with Sri Krishna in an unknown text called Bhagavad Gita. You've heard of this, but here's your reference. She says, Tvameva Mata. You are the mother alone. Cha Pita Tvam Eva. Mother and father. Tvam Eva Bandhuhu. Friend. Cha Saka Tvam Eva. I take that back. Bandhu is family, Saka is friend. Mother, father, family, friend. Tvam Eva Vidya. You are knowledge. Dravinam Tvam Eva. The knowledge that flows through all materials. Tvam Eva Sarvam. You are all. I've listed some relationships, I've listed some articles, circumstances. In the last quarter shares, Mama Deva Deva, which means you are my light. I like to remove one letter at the end and change it to Mama Deva Eva. You are, you alone are. This verse very much applies to our community. Through this community, if you think about what to have faith in, we have access to Puja Swami Chinmayananda and Puja Swami Tejomayananda. Agreed? Through this community, we have access to our map, Bhagavad Gita. Through this community, we have access to divinity. That is Sri Krishna. So feel like Gandhari, sharing this with Sri Krishna. That's what I'll do on our birthday together. Announcements. I'm sharing with all of you our plan in retrospect and moving forward. Meaningful Mornings Exploring Bhagavad Gita is 20 chapters. There's the pre-chapter, 18 chapters, and the post-chapter. So pre-brief, debrief. This year, we've explored the pre-brief in 4 chapters. So a total of 5 units. It took us 1 year, which means Meaningful Mornings will be completed at the end of 2024. Gita Jayanti of 2024, we will complete our exploration of Bhagavad Gita. We will recommence on January 14th. And for me, this is special because this is when I began sharing. January 14th, 2022 will be my 14-year anniversary. I offer my gratitude to all of you because Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna, our Sadguru Shishya Parampara, has come to life for me like never before because of all of you. And I express my appreciation to our crew, specifically to Rupa, who has made Meaningful Mornings her dharma, and she has to work harder than anyone else, smarter than anyone else. So my gratitude that I get to just reflect on Shri Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, our parampara. Your application for the next 30 mornings is I want you to systematically experience the Bhagavad Gita course, which is on Chinmay Mission Niagara's YouTube channel. The Bhagavad Gita course on Chinmay Mission Niagara's YouTube channel. Go from the pre-brief to chapter 4. That is your application. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. Aaj ke Anand ki jai. Be safe, be sound, be serene. My prayers to Shri Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, that everyone in our community and everyone outside of our community lives the Gita from fear to fearless through dedication and deservershiplessness. Be happiness.